we're going to do our last little bit on our pleated zipper pouch today. So I'm going to probably talk. We'll do a little bit of sewing. And yeah, we do have thread. I know I checked a few minutes ago and couldn't remember if I checked, but we do have thread, so that's good. And I really recommend in today's tool is one of these point turners. Okay, it's not super sharp, so it's not going to poke a hole through your fabric. It's also got a flat side for creasing, so if you don't want a finger crease, you can use this to do your creasing. But this is mine out of the package, so you see that flat side that you can use for creasing, and then it's just perfect to get into the corners, and I'll show you why we need it in just a minute. Okay, when we do this zipper pouch, we're going to, I've already got one side of my zipper, and I'm putting the zipper on without a zipper foot today because you don't need it for this bag. That's a good thing because zippers and I are not always friends. I've said that before. So I have my zipper on one side, and I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this other side. And then we'll sew the zipper. And you want to make sure, before I put anything together, I always want to make sure I'm about halfway open, maybe 2/3 open. I always have my zipper open. Just common sense. It makes it easier for sewing, especially since we're not using a zipper foot. So now I'm going to take my two fronts, and I'm going to line them up, and I'm going to be very particular about lining up my edges here, and you'll notice that my zipper doesn't come completely to my edge. Remember, we cut this about a 1/2 inch shorter last week, so I want that for that very reason. And then I'm going to pin first from this side. Pin, 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 and I'm going to put my pin in on the edge there. And I'll come over here and I'll grab, and I want to pin my front to the zipper first before I do anything. Now this vinyl is really slippery, so keep that in mind. Come on, go in there. Caught the zipper teeth, that's why I didn't want to go in. Okay, so it's a little tricky to work with, and there's a little bit of bulk here too. And I found, even though my machine can handle it, it was hesitating this morning for some reason when I sewed the finished product. So I'll show you that in a minute. So now I've got my two, you can see I've got my two fronts right sides together. Now I'm going to put my two backs right side together. So the zipper is sandwiched right in between my front and my back. And I'm going to start from the edges and line those edges up. And like I said, this is a slippery vinyl. But I think it turned out cute. I'll show you. And then I have another step out in a minute that I didn't use vinyl on, so you can kind of see the difference there too. Okay. So I've got my two edges pinned. I've got my zipper pinned, and now I'm going to carefully line up all of my edges. And this can be just a little bit fiddly and slippery. So, and you don't have to use the slicker vinyl like I did on this, which I will show you. I did one without, but it does make for a nice lining to help keep it a little waterproof if you want to put makeup and such things in there. Okay. All right, and then right there is my zipper pull, right? You see that zipper pull right in there. So I'm going to just kind of pin to one side of it because I still want another pin in there to hold it. And now we're going to go to the machine. And I'm going to move my needle a little bit because I don't want it right in the center. I want it a little bit closer to the teeth. So because I have a FOF at home, I know what needle setting I want my needle on. You might need to play with yours just a little bit, But this is just my standard sewing foot. I didn't put my zipper foot on. I don't have a specialty foot on. I do want to adjust my speed. Okay, we're good. And now I'm going to put this in, and I'm going to follow the edge of the fabric to the inside of this silver part on my toe. Again, because you might not have this machine, you're going to want to play with your machine settings. Excuse, I got to get my pins over here. I also have my IDT, if camera guy will swing around to back here. This is my IDT right here. I have it engaged because I want it to pull all of my fabrics through. Remember, I've got slippery fabric with the vinyl on it. I've got a zipper tape, and I have my regular fabric. So that's a lot to pull through, and I want to make sure that the machine will feed it evenly. So that's why I have my built-in walking foot engaged. Okay, and I'm going to drop. Also put on needle down position, and you'll notice on this presser foot that my presser foot hovers until I sew when it will drop the presser foot. Okay, and I'm going to start sewing. Now I'm going to take a minute and do a little backup on this, just because it's being just a little bit fussy to get all this bulk through to begin with. And there we go. It just will take off like crazy for me. And do my best to keep my edges even. And remember, I'm keeping on the inside of this toe right here. And I'm going to make a little adjustment right there. Get my hand in, and I'm almost to my zipper pull. So I'm going to sew about right here, there, and stop. Now, because I have my needle down, I can raise my presser foot, and then I can come in under here and grab that zipper pull. And this is fidgety, and I hope that you can kind of see this. I'm going to pull it this way a little bit. There we go. Pull that zipper pull behind my presser foot, and now I'm smooth sailing the rest of the way. Okay, come back in and pull that even. Just like this. So at that point, the most difficult thing is getting that zipper pull out of the way so I can complete this seam right here. Okay, and back it up just a little bit. Oh, it didn't grab. That's okay. Sometimes it doesn't grab if I don't hit the button just right and I wasn't paying attention. Okay, now we have our zipper sewn in place, and I would open this up, and I would that's the inside. That's inside. I would open this up, and I'd take this to the iron, and I would press my front down, and I would have to probably move my zipper out of the way and get it pressed flat. And then I want you to top stitch, and I'll show you, hopefully you can see it on this side. Top stitch right here along the fold so that you keep your excess fabric out of the way of the zipper, and then you'll press the back so the back goes away. And now if you have the vinyl on, you have to use a Teflon pressing sheet, otherwise you're going to melt your iron on your vinyl and ruin your iron and ruin your project. All right, so make sure you're using that Teflon pressing sheet and just press that out of the way, and it stays beautifully. Okay, so at that point, now we're ready to put everything together. So, because I don't have that top stitched and pressed, I have another one that I've done. This is the one without the vinyl, so there's no vinyl on the, this is the inside part, the diagonal. But I wanted to show you how we get it, because we've got this tab right here for the zipper, and the zipper gets a little funky, and we want to keep this lined up, and I want to try and push the zipper part to the center. Did you see me do that? Do that again. Push that, and you might have to be kind of manhandling with it. Push that to the center. Keep my seams even right here. And to help reduce the bulk, I'm going to have one seam go down and one seam go up, okay? Because that's really bulky right there. And then you're going to pin. I pin, 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 pin. Now I'm not going to sew all the way around today because I don't think you need to see me do that. You do want to make sure that before you start pinning this, that your zipper is open farther than this. And I went, I better open this up. So let's get in there, because I started this morning for today's demonstration, and I don't know what it is about sewing at 6 o'clock in the morning, but I don't always remember to do everything when I'm that not engaged yet in my day. Okay, so just make sure that your zipper is open at least halfway, if not, you know, more like 7/8 of the way, because you do need this to turn the zipper, or not the zipper, but to turn the bag through. And some people don't get that, and ask me how I know. I have forgotten to do that, and then I'm stuck and have to unsew, which is my least favorite thing to do. Okay, we're going to line up our band seam right here, and I'm going to put a pin in right there. And then I'm going to, there's a little bit of ease, so I'll just kind of help the fabric ease into that a little bit. Oh, I should mention that I did go in, and this was the tricky part, but I did work to get my pleats all lined up and get them as even as possible. They're still not quite perfect on this one, but they're close, okay? And I'll show you on the finished one, I did pretty good. So if it were me, I'd still play around a little bit, because you can see I'm off here and here, so this pleat needs to be adjusted, and I'll fix that before I sew. I just want to show you how I pin before I sew this bag together. So you're just going to pin all the way around. You're going to match up your seams on your bands and tuck that zipper tab in. Then when we get to the bottom, I want to show you what I do on the bottom to help me remember how to sew, because you need an opening in the bottom lining of your bag for when you're going to turn as well. Okay, so this is what I do. I come in and I like to give myself a good 3 to 4 inches to turn. This is kind of bulky, and so I always mark my pins when I have to start and stop something that's normally I just think I'd sew all the way around. I put a double pin in like that, okay? And I'll come to here and I'll give myself about the same. And I'm not going to do this whole thing, because you will be able to see how you turn it when you get it sewn. I think you'll be fine. I'll start here, sew around, go all the way around. Like I said, I don't want to take the time today, because you don't need to see me working that hard. And I can't fast forward the camera. Okay, get that folded in there. Come on. It does not want to cooperate this morning. There we go. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. All right. And pin that one that way. And remember, there's a lot, and this pin does not want to handle it this morning, so hold on. Because I want to keep those together. Come on. Oh, it's being fiddly, fiddly, fiddly. So this one, we're going to keep all the seams going that way. I don't think so. We're going to do it the same. That's part of the problem. I was doing opposite on my seam. Okay. Look at what the other side is doing and do the same thing. Don't twist your seams, which was what I was doing. Come on, poke out the other way. There we go. And it wants to roll a little bit, because there's that tab in there on the zipper, so there's a lot of bulk right there. Your machine will handle it fine once you get started. Okay, and we'll just go. So I'll start it, give you kind of an idea, and then I'll show you the finished product, okay? So on this machine, or on the beginning, I'm going to take this back to, let's see, to my, whoops, wrong direction, to my center needle position, just like that. And I'm going to start pretty close to my pins, right there. Take those pins out. Don't like to sew over pins. Take a couple of stitches forward, stop, put my reverse on, take a couple stitches backwards, stop, and then go back forward. Then I'm going to sew till I come, and I might stop and check and see if I've got this just right. I can take one more stitch to get that excess in, so I'll take one more stitch, boom, like that. Then I can spin, and I'm right where I want to be with the edge of my fabric. And I'll just keep going for just a minute, and I'll show you how it goes over this up here. I didn't pin this very well, and I've got some, I should have turned this the other way because I'm going to get a pleat. That's just what's going to happen right now. I should have put, because I have extra bulk on this side, I should have put it going the other direction, meaning the fuller side to the back on my feed dog. So I'm going to get a little pleat, and so I will go home and most likely unsew this because that's not even a pretty seam back there. I'm just doing this to kind of show you that, okay, when we have problems like this, does not want to go in first, I'm going to take off my pin right there, and I'm going to drop this down, and just with my fingernail I'm going to just force that bulk through, and it will keep going just fine. Okay, so you might have to manipulate a little bit. If you see that you're doing a crappy job like I did, you can unsew that, or you can say that's okay, it's going to be on the inside, nobody's going to see it. That's also an option, just letting you know, because my seams don't match up and I have that little pleat, but like I said, inside no one's going to know. So you're going to sew all the way around until you get to your opening right here. Okay, then you'll start, I want you to clip your corners. Let me show you. Oh, I don't have scissors. That's okay, I can show you with my fingers. You're going to clip your corners right across here. Don't clip into your stitching, and take out this bulk. And sometimes I take a little bit more, just a little kind of diagonal on both sides like this. I got caught on the pin. Turn it. Then you're going to find you have to pull your front of your bag out, and then you're going to have to tuck inside your zipper your lining. And when you get it all done, it will look like this. Ta-da! Right? Isn't that cute? I think that turned out pretty awesome. I did a little contrast stitching because I didn't have this color of thread, so I hit my embroidery threads, and I still didn't have the right color of green to match it, so it was contrast, but I thought it looked pretty nice. I've got my pleats pretty well matched up on the bottom. I could have done a little better right there, but I really don't care at this point. But this is the tool that saved the day, was my guy, because not only before I tucked my lining in, I had to tuck my corners out here because I don't like rounded corners when they're not tucked and pointed out. I also used it to come in and poke out the rest of my vinyl corners, just put it in there and did like that. And then I also used it to lift my my band on my zippers. Now, just wanted to point out a little bit too, I still had, once everything got turned, I had a little bit of fold in my corner. So I took my seam ripper and very carefully just lifted like this. Okay, just lifted like that until I got the point exactly the way I wanted it. You want to be very careful not to tear your fabric, not go all the way in, clear down into the knife point in the down here in the groove, but just to keep your tip and come in and carefully lift that extra bulk out so you have beautiful corners. But that's our zipper. I hope you have fun making it. Let me know if you've made any, share your pictures, and I will see you next week at Quilted Works. Bye.